everybody. It's Stephen and Walter with another episode of So Chatty. This is episode number 190, and it is June the 20th, 2025. 10 more episodes. We'll be at the 200th episode.
Wow.
Geez, we'll have to do something fun about that. Maybe you can grow hair by then. No, that's not going to happen.
I am growing hair. It's just not on my head.
Maybe if we cut off your head and put it on upside down.
Here, I take off my shirt. I'll show you more hair.
Oh, please. No one needs to see B cups. No. Okay. So what have we been working on? Well, let's, and we are going to talk about the Canadian Quilt Show because we were there yesterday and show you our massive haul of what we bought and other things that happened as well. Plus, you're going to get to see all of the quilts because I took extensive video for that. And that's what 3/4 of what today's going to be is all about. But anyways, we'll come to that in a second. Let's take a look at what I just finished. And what I just finished is my next Quilt of Valor quilt. This one is called Across the Nation. From Across the Nation is what it's called. And it is an official Quilt of Valor pattern. I bought it from the Quilt of Valor site. And I've got it all done. And I'm very pleased with the way the top has turned out. Now, this is the top, so there's still time for me to destroy it on Lucey, as we well know.
Very nice.
Oh, Walter likes it. We just went out to an hour or so ago to Ultimate Sewing, and I picked up backing for it. The backing I got is for their new line of O Canada fabrics, which I really like, and I've shown you on a previous video. It's sort of the oranges and the browns and the reds, whereas this one is more into the reds and very light browny beigey colors. So the backing isn't actually a complete match to the front, but it'll still work. And I like the backing. It's a gradient. And it'll work fine. It'll be fine. The only thing that won't be fine is probably I usually make my binding from leftovers of the backing. And I don't think this time I'm going to be able to because I think it would look funny. I'll have to show it, but that's okay. I've got plenty of more fabric that will work for that when I get it done. And I'm hoping to get it quilted next week. I hope. But so that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to, Walter?
Well, I haven't been up to anything sewing yet. Well, tomorrow I'll probably start a shirt, but
oh yeah, I have to pick up the fabric.
Yeah, but other than that, I haven't done any sewing. I've been doing stuff around the house, so
he's
like
been working on the deck. Now, the deck is now, you finished now with the deck.
I've finished staining the surface of the deck. Yeah.
Oh, why do you have more you want?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing some more, but I'm gonna leave that because I have other things I need to do. So,
like what?
Like take apart the deck, or take apart the bottom part so that we can get rid of our hot tub.
Oh yeah, we got that too. Yeah, so he's been busy doing, handyman things. These are not things I would be good at. And as long as he
and then we had a window in our garage that had all those when we bought the house, it had these decorative strips of white to make it sort of like a crosshair on
to make it look like you had separate panes.
Yeah, separate panes on it.
That was the thing.
It was all peeling off and it looked crappy.
Like crap.
And I thought, well, I want to get rid of that and just make it just plain glass. And boy, I had a hell of a time getting that stuff off because it was stuck right to the color was stuck right to the window. So I had to use a combination of a paint scraper. I thought I tried 100% rubbing alcohol to get it off. And I ended up using some thinners. And even the thinners, I had a hard time getting to get it off.
Well, it's been on there for 30 years. Yeah, and the sun comes in over there in the morning. It's probably baked it on.
Well, anyway, it's all off now. It looks good.
Yeah.
So
okay, which is good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so announcements. Sewing with Stephen. Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Eastern Time start. Finishes 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Come and go as you please. Links in the show notes. Pop-up Sew Day. Yay! We haven't had one in a while. Pop-up Sew Day tomorrow at the time of recording of this, which will be Saturday, June the 21st. Link is in the show notes. Those of you on my mailing list have had 2 emails from it. First of the week announcing it, and I put one out yesterday just as a reminder as well. You don't have to answer those emails or anything. You just show up if you want to show up anytime. So you don't have to be there. We start a little bit earlier on it, or at least I do. I open up the virtual doors at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and we will finish up at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Walter will not be on joining us. He's going to his own in-person sew day with the witches and the guy that makes
No,
straitjacket.
they haven't
And
been there in a while. Actually, Karen's supposed to come, and Gail's supposed to come. And then there was one other lady, I think she might come. And actually, there might be another guy joining us. So,
oh,
and Mark will probably be there.
oh, new blood. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, you'll scare him away. Yeah. And advance notice, as I've been telling you every week, my birthday bash pop-up sew day, which is in July. Okay, we're approaching July though, very quickly. But July 12th. And of course, the week before that, there'll be everything about it and the link for it. And it's a freebie too. It's the same as tomorrow's pop-up sew day, except this one will have prizes, or that one will have prizes. This one this week doesn't have prizes. Do I look like I made a money? No. And I certainly don't feel that way as today, because we were over at Ultimate Sewing before we started recording this, and well, I needed the backing fabric that I already mentioned, and while we were there, my enabler, there was a quilt that they're having a class, and they have a kit for it. And Walter says, well, that's really nice. So I came home with it. Yep, I bought it. Weren't cheap, like over $300, but it is and I will be showing you what it looks like, not on today. You'll have to stay tuned for the Idiot Quilter. I will show you it and everything. And
you bought the backing for it.
And I bought the backing at the same time for it. So that's why, like, I dropped over $500 at Ultimate Sewing today. So that's just a little thank you gift to Shirley, because she gave us something yesterday at the Canadian Quilt Show, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Shirley's the owner of Ultimate Sewing.
Yes, Shirley's the old. Well, you've heard me talk about Shirley.
Yeah,
before.
I know,
There
but not everybody.
Well, okay, if you're new, you probably don't know. Ultimate Sewing is our local quilt store here in Oshawa. So anyways, yeah. And then last night, while we were sitting enjoying, I don't know how many glasses of wine, well, you were drinking beer, under the deck, admiring the toad turd. More about that on Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday. Yes, I didn't know. We learned something.
Yeah, we learned something, that toads have big turds.
Toad's shit. But anyways, Toddy the Toad left us a little gift. Yes, I call him Toddy the Toad, because he's our pet now. He's adopted us. Anyways, I got an email from my sister. She wants a quilt. Knock me over with the feather. Oh my God. Now, you may have known that I have offered to make a quilt for my sister a couple of times before. And the answer I've got is, well, I don't really have any place to store it. Not the right answer. Okay, you don't tell somebody you're going to store a quilt they've spent, a lot of time and effort on. Anyway, so that's fine. Well, I guess she's redoing a room in the family cottage, not my family's, her husband's family, that they go to all the time. And she thought she might like a quilt for the bed. And I said, no problem. Happy to do so.
Oh yeah, well, that new one would be too big for her bed, because she said it was a double.
I think it's a double. It's not a queen yet. So
Yeah.
that new one that I got, she's not getting that one anyways. I like it too much. She did mention that she wants earth tones. Yeah, and she thought maybe I might have a quilt already made, because she knows I've got them stockpiled for that would be, appropriate. Or if I was going to make one, maybe find a pattern and all that kind of stuff. And she said she'd pay, of course. She wasn't expecting this free or anything like that. My sister doesn't operate that way at all. But I told her, nah, you don't have to worry about that. I'll just make it for you. Like, she don't have to pay for it. I mean, I make them all the time, right? So that's fine. So she's coming over on Monday for a consultation, which I've already started designing a quilt in Electric Quilt 8. More for me than for her, like, kind of a thing, to keep it relatively simple. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Now, we actually have one upstairs that's sort of earth tones that I made some time ago, and for a while was on our bed. But now I've replaced it with the Barn Star Sampler, which I found out today Walter doesn't like. This is why he directed me to the one.
It looks
I
too.
admit to I'm not that I like it,
I
but
like the
it
quilt.
doesn't work in our bedroom.
Yeah, it looks too feminine.
Yeah, and plus we have a quilt that I made a long time ago, which is an applique quilt, which is one of my favorite quilts, that hangs on the wall behind the headboard. And if you saw Idiot Quilter earlier this week, you've already seen what I'm talking about because I had a picture of it, the whole bit on the bed. But yeah, the colors in it are, yeah, as Walter
Actually, I
says,
think they work better for a girls' room than.
yeah, they work better. Whatever. Well, yeah, and I might have taken offense to that if it wasn't that we have this other one that I like even better that I'm going to make,
Yeah, the one I saw today, I really like.
apparently.
Well, he did. You two did
Yes, I
too.
did.
That's why you bought it.
Loved it
I
for
mean, actually, it's one of those
$400.
ones where you can use any color you want. Your preference for to make this quilt, other than the fact it's a kit.
Mm-hmm.
But the sample that was done was really nice in the colors that it was.
Yeah, and that's what you got in the kit. It's
Yeah.
batiks, and I love batiks. I love working with batiks, and I love quilts made from batiks. But anyways, yeah. But as I said, I will show that on Idiot Quilter next Tuesday, so you'll understand what we're talking about. But anyways, so we'll see what end up here with my sister, and so this is another pattern that I'm working on because I just finished working up a pattern for another Quilt of Valor, which was going to be my next project, but I may be putting that on hold for a bit. Things are piling up again. You see, I was for the so chatty or for not so chatty for the sew day tomorrow, the pop-up sew day. Earlier in the week, I wasn't sure what I was going to work on because I kind of figured I would have the quilt top done for this Quilt of Valor that I showed you. And then when my enablers on Wednesday sews, and if you never been to one of my Wednesday sew days, sewing with Stephen, be prepared to be enabled because people show you things on there that they just got and you go, oh, I want that. And especially when it comes to, for me, with embroidery, and I have several ladies on there that are also embroidery machine enthusiasts as well. And one showed me a bag that was on sale on Sweet Pea. So that's what I'm going to work on this Saturday. I've got my fabrics all laid out for that and everything. And again, I will show you that probably, or at least parts of it, probably next Tuesday on Idiot Quilter. Because right now it's just folded up fabric. It's not going to mean anything to you. All right, so we've had a busy weekend or not busy weekend. We had a busy day yesterday at the Canadian Quilt Show, which is, of course, is the Canadian Quilters Association, which I am actually a member of as well. I don't know why, because I'm not really getting a hell of a lot out of the membership, but anyways, I am. And so off we went, and oh my God, talk about busy. Now it was the first day of it, so
Oh boy, yeah.
I
Wall
have,
to wall women.
yeah,
Wall to wall old women.
yeah, and some of them weren't really pleasant either, especially some crotchety ones that hit you with their walker. And you might think I'm joking, and I am not.
Oh no. There were
No.
people trying to run you over.
Yeah. And they had, of course, they had the vendors part mall in there, and the quilts. You had to fight your way through the vendors mall to get to the
Actually,
quilts.
yeah, it was a little bit. I mean, it was probably set up in such a way that it would enable people to buy stuff because when we were at the Halifax Quilt Show, they had a separate room for
Yeah.
vendors and they had a separate room for
the
the
quilts.
quilts, right? And in this one, they have one great big huge room, and you enter through the vendor section. You have to waddle your way through the vendor section to get to see the show quilts.
And you're lucky if you could waddle because you weren't moving anywhere fast. And we were there at about 10 o'clock. It opened at 9:30. We were there about 10 o'clock and it was already zoomed. And from people we met up with there, they that had been there, got there earlier than that, they said that it was crazy getting the lineups to get if you want to buy a ticket at the door. We'd already pre-purchased our tickets, so we had a special area we went to, and that was really quick.
Yeah.
And they gave us the wristbands, and
probably the first group had already gone through
yeah.
that had pre-purchased tickets. So we were able to get our wristbands quick.
Yeah. So it was a real zoo. And on the video, at the very beginning of the video, pretty close to the beginning, you will see exactly the people, because I basically held my camera up as we were trying to get through, and you will see just a sea of people.
Actually, what was good when we got there is there were tons of people at the vendors when we were there.
Yeah.
And when we first got there, but what we did was we made a beeline for the quilts, which was past the vendors. And at the time we got it, it was got to go see the quilts. It was busy for the viewing of the quilts, but not as busy as it got later on in the day.
So that...
by the time we finished viewing all the quilts and then we were working our way back, the original set of quilts that we started seeing at the beginning were just swarmed with people.
Yeah. And it was pretty much impossible to buy anything. If you wanted to get something, you had to be prepared that you were going to be crushed in there with everybody else, because the booth areas were not very big. And yeah, it was just a sea of people.
Yeah, and the vast majority of fabrics or anything else that you could buy there were pre-cuts, which makes sense because they don't have to...
One shop was actually cutting from the bolt. And I don't know how they were managing with that, because the people were lined up. And were the prices good? No. I didn't see anything that said, wow, this is a bargain. I'm going to go in there and fight with all the rest of the people for it.
There was one place that had pre-cut backing, but their prices weren't really any different than if you bought it
at the shop.
So, I mean, they did have a deal that if you bought 3-meter cuts that you got a little bit more off, but you'd have to buy 3-meter cuts, right? But if you just bought 1 3-meter cut, it was about the same price as what you would pay in a regular store.
And so, so I wouldn't say that if people were going there because they thought they were going to get bargains, there weren't any bargains to be had.
But at least there was a variety of fabrics. There's one place that was selling Japanese fabrics, and that I didn't particularly like the feel of them.
No,
but,
they feel kind of rough.
Maybe if you use them in a quilt, they'd be okay. But for me, if I want to make a garment out of them, they were too scratchy.
Yeah. So anyways, we did run into some people who knew us from the channel. I mean, it was funny. We'd hear somebody say, Stephen and Walter. We'd look around and go, oh, hi. And we watch you all the time. Just love your show. And we really do thank these people for coming up and speaking to us, because, it means a lot to content creators when their, for lack of a better word, fan base comes up and speaks to them and says that they like the channel, because then that what we are doing people appreciate. And because you never know, you don't know.
And a lot of people come up to us and say, boy, you look different than you do.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was it was a compliment or not. So you look different than you do on TV.
I mean, if you see us sitting here right now, we're sitting at pretty much the same height.
Yeah.
And I'm actually taller than Stephen is. So
not by much.
Enough.
But I'm better.
Look over your
I'm better looking.
You've gotten shorter over the years. So.
I'm old. I shrink. That happens to old people. You might want to try it. Yeah, but I would say to people when they'd say that to me about, well, you look different than you do on YouTube, I'd go, well, that's because a camera cannot capture all of this in its radiant glory. I strongly suggest you agree with that. Yeah, right there. But anyways, it was nice talking to them and hearing about what, where they watched. There was somebody said they actually plan their viewing day around our videos, and they said, everybody's told, you do not interrupt us at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday afternoon. We're watching Stephen and Walter.
And they were interesting because I think she had gotten her husband into doing some stuff on the long arm or whatever too. So so maybe we can take credit for that. Maybe we inspired. I don't know. Well, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But anyways, it was really nice to meet these people. And of course, we met up with some of our
regulars that we knew were going to be there, and so we had planned to meet up with them. We shared our telephone number so we could text each other. And so those of you that are on the Wednesday sew days, you'll know Caroline. She was she's kind of new to our Wednesday sews, but she's a regular now. And we met up with her and her husband, and we met up with Elaine, who lives in our area, not far from us. And she's our original stalker. And we've told that story before, so yeah. And she and her husband, Ron, Caroline's husband's name is Craig. We all met up, the six of us, and it was nice to meet them face to face and talked about what was going on. We didn't all really hang out. Like, it was too many people, so six of us going from booth to booth to booth or whatever, that would have been, well, we would never have been together. And that's really kind of cumbersome. But it was nice to meet them, and we met up with another one of the Wednesday regulars, Karen, and her aunt. And they were there too, so it was really nice to see them. So yeah, we spent more time socializing than really we looked at the quilts fairly extensively. And that's what you're about to see. But anyways, it was a nice day in spite of the fact that it was full of people. Now the haul. I know you're all waiting to find out how much I spent. Well, did I spend 100? No. Did I spend 300? No. Did I spend 500? No. 1,000? No. I spent $60. And you're going, what? You went to the quilt show and only spent $60? What's wrong with you? Well, first of all, it was the crowds. Second of all, although they're pretty and they always capture my attention, fat quarter bundles and that, I do not need any more. I have a ton of them. I haven't been through. I don't need any more jelly rolls. I don't need any layer cakes. And as Walter already mentioned, there was only one place that was cutting fabric from the bolt, and there was no way I'd be standing in line, and it wasn't like I was getting a deal. I even
just briefly looked at what they had for fabric, and I didn't really see anything that really grabbed me. Because, I was going to say, I wasn't going to buy too much because I have a bunch of cuts of fabric that are waiting to be made into shirts. So, and unless there was something that I really saw that stuck out at me that I really wanted to get, I would have purchased it. But I have a few fat quarter bundles, and I don't really do a lot with them, and I don't really need any more. So.
And to be honest, I didn't see anything that leapt out at me and said, buy me, buy me, buy me.
There was a place selling Liberty of London.
Yeah, but we're going to Liberty of London. So, and it's not like it's going to be any cheaper on this side of the pond for it.
Well, actually, they do have sales sometimes there.
What? Who?
At Liberty.
Yeah, that's not what I just said. I said here, this side of the pond.
Yeah, no, that's true, yeah.
But here's what I bought. Are you ready? This is exciting. I bought 2 boxes of 60 millimeter rotary blades, 10 in a box. They had a special on $59.99 for 2. And I have used, these are come from a Canadian company called Ormcraft. I have bought their replacement blades online before. Their prices are usually very good because rotary cutter blades are expensive. Like Olfa for one blade is $20 for it. So these are 10, and they do last well. In fact, I didn't really need to buy more because I've got some, but Walter was buying 45 millimeter ones for his, and I didn't want to be left out.
I usually use my 45 millimeter cutter for shirts because I only go through 1 or 2 layers, and I like it better. I can maneuver better than the 60. And I do, so I bought 2 of those packages for the 45, and they were charging $29 a package, or 2 for 45 basically.
For 45 millimeters.
No, yeah, it was about $45 for 2 packages.
Yeah, this is 60. $59.99.
Yeah. And so
plus tax.
Yeah, 60 for 60 millimeters, and
okay.
45 for 40.
I didn't realize that.
So anyway, so I bought them because I am low on blades.
So anyways, if you're ever looking for blades and you want them at a reasonable price, if you're in Canada, then, well, if you're American, you can get them even cheaper, right? But if you want good ones that last and are a reasonable price, then check out Orm Craft. ORMKRAFT. Orm Craft. And yeah, and I was just looking to see if they've got on here their website.
I don't see it.
Oh, yeah, it's on the bottom. It's just www.ormcraft.com. So, yeah, so they're good. Now, that was all what we bought. Didn't buy anything else. But we did come home with some freebies. Some good freebies. So, we went over to the Janome display. They had all their latest machines around and everything. And of course, one of the people running that particular section was Shirley, the owner of Ultimate Sewing. Shirley is one of the top sellers in the Janome dealership world as well. And that's where we buy all our machines. And Shirley is really good. If you're in the area and you're looking for a new machine and you're thinking Janome, check out Shirley at Ultimate Sewing. She is not a high pressure salesperson or anything like that. She is very honest about what she's selling you, and she will fit you with the machine that's right. And her prices are really good as well on the machines. But while we were there, she says, "Oh, I have something for you." Yeah, it's a promotional thing from Janome, but that's okay, because who can't use another pair of the small mini duckbill scissors, 4-inch? We both got a set. And
There's probably a little bonus that they give people that buy a machine or something like that.
Might be. So yeah, we really appreciate this. This was really unexpected and very appreciated. And then, okay, little story here. I don't want to go too long because the video runs about 40 minutes. LDH. You've heard us talk about LDH. They're a Canadian distributor of scissors. We have some issues with LDH, not on their quality of their scissors or anything like that, but some other things. I'm not going to get into those now because we probably have talked about it. But as we were walking by their booth, the owners were there. They always go to all the shows, and he recognized us, the owner, and he came right over and he, shakes our hands, and he knew who we were and everything. And he says, "Oh, well, first of all, he kind of gave a carte blanche. Is there anything I'll give you for free?" Well, we're not the kind of people that take advantage of that kind of thing. Although I thought afterwards I wouldn't mind having one of the rotary cutters. But anyways, I said, "Oh, no, that's fine, thanks," and everything. We just thought we'd say hi. Like, actually, he said hi to us first. We didn't know that he even know who we were, kind of a thing. So he kind of says, "No, we'll give you something." So he came over and he gave us each some snips. One's in Midnight Black. Those are Walter's. And mine are in the Rainbow Prism, they call them. Just little snips. Now, to be honest, I don't use these ones because I have a hard time with my hand. Well, I might use them. But, yeah. I mean...
Yeah, they sell. I think they retail for about $20 a piece.
So and they come in a nice little box and everything. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of that was a very unexpected surprise. I said to Walter, maybe we have reached celebrity status. People want to bribe us. But no, he didn't say anything about that we had to present this on here. But because we got them, and I always show you these things, LDH are good scissors. We have many pairs of them.
A few pairs of them. They are good scissors, but I would recommend, if you buy a pair of LDH scissors, is you buy the shears. Make sure they're fabric shears, because they do sell a different quality of one that they call scissors, and that's more for crafting.
Yeah.
You read the descriptions on them to make sure that you're getting the proper ones.
But they're a good company. They are a Canadian distributor. They are not a Canadian company. They don't manufacture the scissors here. They're manufactured in China. But, what isn't? So, sorry, Americans. But
they are good quality scissors.
Yeah, they are good quality scissors. I quite like mine that I have. I use them all the time. So anyways, that was kind of a nice little bonus that we got these freebies. So thank you, LDH, and thank you, Shirley, and Janome. You know, totally unexpected, that kind of thing. Okay, so that means it's time for the video. All right. Now, I do not talk about the quilts in any detail. I don't go and say what the name of the quilt was, why they won a ribbon, who made the quilt. There's just too many of them to do that. It was way too busy. You wouldn't even heard me if I had on the video talked about that. So, and any soundtrack that's there is soundtrack of when we were first going and when we met up with friends. As well, but the rest of it's just a musical soundtrack in behind, and you'll see all the quilts. Now, it goes by fairly quickly because there were a lot of quilts. Okay, so you can pause the video if you want to look at them in a little bit more detail. Now, I have another. Walter took a lot of still pictures of the quilts. I didn't include that. I have made that into a slideshow. I have not included it in today's production because it'll make this like way too long for that. But I don't know yet, but I may add that to the Idiot Quilter on Tuesday. And if you did see some things you really want to have a closer look at, a little more time with, that one will probably be easier for you to pause the video for that to see them. A little bit easier probably than this video. Okay, so I'm going to insert that video here. Enjoy. So we're on our way to the Canadian Quilt Association's Canadian Quilt Show at the International Centre in Mississauga. We're on the 407 right now, the most expensive highway in Canada.
In North America.
In North America, yeah. This is the 407. If you're not from this area and you're traveling on holiday sometime here, don't take the 427. 407, sorry. The 407, because it will cost you a second mortgage. And I'm not exaggerating. Okay, so my driver today is Walter. Everybody knows Walter as well. And of course, I will be your host today for the Canadian Quilt Show. Hoping to get lots of video of all of the quilts and of course the vendors as well. Have a few things I'm looking for at the vendors to pick up. I need some backing fabric, wide back, for the quilt I just finished the top, the Quilt of Valor one. You've seen it in bits and pieces. And you will see the completed top, probably not in this video, but on Stephen and Walter Live this weekend anyways, something like that. And yeah, I looked over all the vendors that are at this show the other day because they have them listed on the Canadian Quilters Association website. And there are a lot of sewing machines sellers, some long armors, a couple of things that don't belong here, like coffee makers and cooling systems. I don't know. Some retreat services, things like that. Not a lot of just your everyday, ordinary quilt stores. I mean, there'll be fabric and things there, but I'm not anticipating I'm going to see much that I really must have. And that's probably a good thing because I don't really want to spend a lot of money, he says, today, because at the end of July, we're going to be going to the Birmingham Quilt Festival in England. And so, you know, I may want to pick up a few things there that we can't get here. We'll see if that's true or not. So, yeah, so we'll see the quilts. I'm sure they'll be gorgeous, all of those. And there are some featured quilters that have separate rooms. So we'll be checking those out as well. And hopefully we're going to meet up with some local subscribers that are here. We've exchanged telephone numbers and that so we can text each other and maybe find a suitable time and a suitable spot to, you know, get together for a little bit while we're at the show. So stay tuned. So this gives you an idea of the crowd that's here. This is the first day. Okay, so we've made our way to the quilts. And I'm not going to do a lot of commentary during this because there's a lot of noise, a lot of confusion, but you can just enjoy the beauty that is here.
Quilting commemorating Canada's 125th birthday back in 1992. quilts that I just finished filming, I just realized now these are all kids' quilts. And this is, for example, this is age 5 to 9. I mean, a 5-year-old making a quilt? That's incredible. Okay, look who we found at the quilt show. We found Caroline and her husband Craig.
Hello.
And we also found Elaine and Ron. And Elaine, of course, and Ron are my first real stalkers, they're professionals. These are still newbie stalkers, but they will learn as well. And have you guys bought anything yet? No.
Not yet.
Because, oh, you did buy something.
I bought some bobbins for my long arm.
Okay, good. Because it's a zoo, as you guys have already been able to see, trying to get to anything. So we've met up, we've been talking, and now we're going to go in and fight the crowds again. So we'll see you guys online soon. Bye. Some video. So ran into, well, we kind of knew they were coming, but Karen, many of you on our sew days on Wednesday know Karen, and this is Karen's aunt, and I forgot your name. Judy. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to call you something else. But anyways, they're here at the quilt show too, because anybody who's anybody is at the quilt show, really people. And so there they are, and you've got t-shirts that says what? Quilting is always the answer. We're just not sure of the question. And anyways, have you guys liked the show? Yeah, I know you got here before we did.
It's really, really busy, and there's a lot of vendors, so it's really nice. It's worthwhile to come because of all the vendors.
Yeah. So if you want to do shopping, but pack your patience, because you'll get run over by a walker hit in the head with a backpack, or just some old lady with a cane will stick it right up here. Never mind, but we'll move on for that. So yeah, I'm glad we saw them. So say hello to everybody in YouTube land.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so you know what I said after we saw all those beautiful quilts in there? I said, I just want to go home and burn all of mine and start over.
Yeah, they were pretty impressive.
I mean, I am an award-winning quilter. As you know, I got second place at the Brooklyn Spring Fair.
I mean, a lot of those quilts, people must have taken a long time to make. And there was one there I was looking at, and I thought for sure that the quilt was machine quilted. That they had done feathers in it, and the feathers looked really uniform from one area to another. But reading the caption or whatever, it was hand quilted.
Yeah.
And I did look a little bit more carefully, and if you did look really carefully, you did see some variation between one section and another section that had feathers in it, but it was a very slight difference.
But obviously the person that did that quilt, and it did win a big award for it, and rightly so, they obviously have been quilting for many, many years.
It was very uniformly quilted, and it was really nice.
But there were so many and it was very inspiring. It's got my juices up now to try my hand at making like a more abstract modern quilt kind of thing.
Yeah, they had a lot of applique and a lot of there's a lot of like photographic type quilts.
And the ones that were, a lot of the ones that won the big awards, they seem to be appliqued. Like very intricate applique.
Yeah, but don't they have different categories?
Yeah, they do, and
like
I don't know
so
what categories they were in or how that worked out. But anyways, as you've seen in the video, there's just, that's eye candy.
And there were a couple of ones that had like 3D elements on it.
Yeah.
Like there's one that of a horse and a boy looking at the horse, and boy's wearing jean coveralls, and the back pocket sticks out, and it has a little hanky in it, and part of the strap folds over, and the strap, it's like the strap is coming out of the picture, and it is outside of the quilt. It looks really cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of really interesting techniques for sure on there. So that's what I'm saying, you know, you kind of want to slow it down, the video, and to study some of the ones, because, you know, it's just phenomenal. But anyways, yeah, so that was it. Now there's more to be said about the quilt show and our day there and everything like that, but we're going to save that discussion for our live on Sunday, because this video is already pretty long.
Yeah.
With it. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for Sunday for Stephen and Walter Live. Hope to see some of you, most of you, all of you. Yeah, well, I know not going to be all of you, but tomorrow on the Sew Day, on the pop-up Sew Day. And tune in next week for Idiot Quilter for some more things, especially that quilt kit that I bought today, and lots of things. So lots of things coming up. So hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you later on. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.